Hello everyone, and welcome to my video on networking tips. So networking tips, or I said in my previous one, it's more like sharing stories. I'm going to go over some scenarios that grad students or research students usually go through and how you can optimize those networking events that you have. So the first example I'm going to talk about is at the conference. Okay. So for the conference, what you want to do is months before the conference, you want to contact people that are either going to be attending the conference or presenting at the conference or giving an abstract at the conference or a poster at the conference. So you want to do your homework well in advance. So let's say, oh, there's a potential postdoc advisor that's going to give a talk, or there's a potential company I might want to work for. You want to do all that research before you go. And then you want to contact them via email saying, I am attending this conference in 3 months. Would it be okay if we set up an informational interview at such a time? Right? So it can be breakfasts. Breakfast is a good time, or between coffee break, wherever that set breaks are. That way you've set up a time with everyone before even the conference begins. Another thing you might want to do is, let's say the conference is in Boston and you're in Toronto, and you're thinking of, well, I wouldn't mind moving to Boston. So then you're going to do a landscape or sort of a environmental scan of the companies that are in Boston or individuals that you want to work for in Boston as maybe a postdoc or in an industry, and request for informational interviews while you're there. So you can fly in a day earlier or stay a day later and interview or informational interview these individuals. Okay, so, but it takes months in advance to do that. So the next step is at the conference. So at the conference, you're going to introduce yourself, you're going to bring your card, and before you delve straight into the questions of the informational interview, you want to have a little bit of exchange on how you found them and who you are and why you asked for that interview. How is the conference going? So kind of break in that sort of unfamiliarity, and then you want to go into your informational interview questions, and always thank their time. Thank them for their time. Also at the conference, you may be presenting a poster. So when you're presenting a poster, again, you're going to have business cards so you can hand out to the people that come and stop by. Or if your supervisor says it's okay, you can have a little sheet, 8.5 by 11 sheet of your poster, and hand those out as well. When you hand out these cards, you are going to, on the back of their card, you're going to write what they talked about, and then within the 24 hours, you're going to have a collection of cards, whoever you talk to during the day. You're going to add them to your LinkedIn, or you're going to write them an email, whatever that exchange was. If you had a nice conversation and you say, could I connect you on through LinkedIn, then you could do that, or you can contact them through email. So that's within the 24 hours that you've met them. Okay? And then follow-up is how the students ask, well, how do you keep in touch with these people, these potential contacts? Is you may ask some more questions, or you may, the number one thing is to give them an update on what you talked about and your project and how it's going, which was also covered in my informational interview video. Okay. So those are the steps you want to go through while you're at your conference, and definitely thank them when you get home, again, for their time. So the other two events, one is the networking event. Let's say you go to a larger networking event that has hundreds of people, and you don't know who's going to be there, other than that they're going to be in biotech, or they're going to be in physics, or they're going to be in English, whatever the meeting is. How do you find the people that you want to talk to when all you have is really a name tag and affiliation? Well, chances are you're going to be talking to whoever you first run into, whether it's by the coffee or whether it's by the hors d'oeuvres, and then you ask them what their interests are, you tell them what your interests are, and then they might say, oh, I just met somebody who's in the food industry. You may want to go talk to her. So even if you're in sort of this fishbowl with what you think is a random assortment of people, once you start talking to people about where you want to go, or again, why you are there, then there are people in the room as soon that can help you out as well. And vice versa. If you talk to somebody in science policy and you run into somebody interested in science policy, you can refer them that individual. The other networking opportunity is when you go to a talk or when you go to an event where they have panelists or keynotes and someone's giving a talk and you really connect with them on what they had to say. So how do you do that? How do you approach a speaker? Let's say there's tons of other people in the room. How do you do that? Well, the number one thing, of course, is again, bring your business card, but also stay at the end to ask any questions so that that speaker or that panelist can see who you are. They can associate the name with the face as opposed to just sending them an email or LinkedIn. They won't know who you are. So the question should be genuine. It should be something that you're really interested in and something that you've connected with. So I'll give you an example that I have from my experience. I went to a conference. There were 7,000 people in the audience, and I really connected with the keynote speaker in terms of what she had to say. Now, with 7,000 people, there was a long lineup for questions afterwards, so I couldn't really get there. But then I realized that she was giving a women in science luncheon talk the very next day. So I decided to go there, and sure enough, there were less people, maybe about 50 to 100 people in the room. And afterwards, I did approach her with my card, and I said, this is when I was in my industry days, and I told her I was thinking of getting back into academia. How do you think I could do that? So it was a question that resonated with her because she had experienced both sides as well. And then we connected over that. I sent her a follow-up thank you, and ever since I've been giving her every year, every 6 months, sort of updates on what's been happening, and she's really appreciate that. And this has been happening for a few years now. So when you are in a room and you feel, how are these panelists or these speakers going to remember me? They're going to remember you if you have a genuine question that you can connect over with. Okay. So networking shouldn't be this kind of scary world where you have to be this extrovert to meet everybody that you can see, but it is you have to do your research beforehand. You have to know who's going to be there, but you also have to know why you're there. Who do you want to speak to? And that way, a networking opportunity can be a great place to share your stories. In my next video, we're going to be talking about the other part of storytelling, which is the job application. So video number 10 is talking about how to apply for the job. We'll see you there.